What up, guys? Thanks for checking out the video. This is the Mutant versus the Groza. I saw a lot of people on YouTube and a lot of people on social media saying that the fully automatic Mutant was better than the Groza. And I really can't find any good data online to confirm whether it is or not. So I decided I'll figure it out for myself. And in the process, I decided to do all the weapons like this. So stay tuned if you want to see all that. It's a really good DMR because you can actually get all 3 hits in. So that is really, really cool. Then I decided to do the recoil profile thing, right? Where you spray the wall, you bring it over to Photoshop, and you paint a line where all of your bullet impact is. And that tells you the profile of the recoil. And then you can compare that with the other gun that you're comparing it to. But it pretty much just tells you what you already know. Because when you're shooting these guns, you can clearly see which one has more recoil than the others. It's pretty obvious. So what I did was I found a location where this width right here is the same width as a player's hitbox. So now what I'm able to do is I can spray this wall and I can watch the bullet spread in relation to a player's hitbox. And I started backing up until my bullets were landing outside the hitbox, even though I was aiming my crosshair pretty centered in the middle of the hitbox location, or where it would be. The bullets were still landing on the sides. And I called that, once it started to land outside the hitbox, I called that maximum hipfire distance. And at that point, you need to do something about it, right? Because you're missing shots. And if somebody has a lesser gun, like a UMP or something like that, where even though it's shooting less powerful bullets and it has a slower time to kill, if you're missing 2 or 3 shots, they're not going to, because the UMP has a really, really tight spread. It doesn't have that same exact type of variation as these bigger 7.62 weapons. So because of the bullet spread, which you can see here, even though I'm keeping the crosshair pretty centered, the bullets are going all around it. And there's no way for you to combat that. There's no way to control that. It's impossible because it's unpredictable for one. And as you can see, it's not about where my crosshair is, it's about where the bullets are actually landing. And so I'm gonna call this maximum hipfire distance. At that point, you need to do something different because your bullets, even though you're aiming at the target, some of your bullets are gonna start missing the target at that distance. And what you would wanna do is crouch and shoulder the weapon. That shrinks the cone of your spray and it gets it more accurate again. That is going to have its own distance. If you continue to back up, eventually, crouching and shouldering it, you'll start to miss as well. It's the same thing. So let's take a look at this. This is actual data that I ended up coming up with after doing tons and tons and tons of research on this. And so basically, both weapons require 4 bullets to clear a level 2 vest. This is based off level 2 vests, okay? Both of them take 4 bullets, but the Groza wins this fight because the Groza's rate of fire is faster. So the Groza's time to kill is 0.316, and the Mutant's time to kill is 0.361. So it wins the fight. It wins the CQC battle, period. The velocity, which is the speed of the bullet, matters in a sniper battle, right? Because that's where you're going to have more bullet drop with a slower bullet and everything. But even though the Mutant is slower at 689 meters per second instead of the Groza's 709 meters per second, ignore that decimal point, it just made me able to use this graph without it turning the graph into a huge unreadable mess. Even though the Groza is faster, I have to give this win to the Mutant simply because you can put a more powerful scope on it and you can do the burst fire thing where you can hit literally 3 bullets almost just with 1 tap. You can almost clear a target with 1 tap sometimes. It's really, really cool and it makes a really good DMR. The rate of fire of these guns is simply the biggest difference. The Groza is 12.65 rounds per second, and the Mutant is 11.08. So even though the base damage is higher on the Mutant, It's one of the highest 7.6.2s. It doesn't really matter. The time to kill is all that really matters, and it's higher on the Groza. It's faster on the Groza. This is the burst fire time to kill. And if you had auto triggers, maybe you could get that to be faster, but somebody playing just tapping with their fingers is simply better off converting this gun to full auto. I've heard some people say that they can actually tap fire it with burst mode faster than they can when it's full auto. I just can't see how that's possible. I'd love somebody to be able to show me how to do that. This is the max hip fire distance. This is what I was talking about. At this distance, this is where even if you have a good aim on your target, bullets begin to land outside of the hitbox. So you need to start crouching and shouldering the weapon at about 8 meters for both of these. And then the Mutant, you can actually crouch and shoulder all the way out to about 15 meters before bullets start to land outside the hitbox. The Groza, it's 11. So the Mutant does have a little bit longer distance of accuracy crouching and shouldering before you need to start ADSing. Once you get outside of 11 meters with a Groza, you're really better off scoping in, using your ADS with a red dot or iron sights. Well, I guess not iron sights because they don't have them in New State. I wish they did. But the Mutant, you can actually push it all the way to 15 meters. So the Mutant's a little less recoil. And when it comes to spraying, I didn't really do a spray comparison because that's going to be so player specific that it really is something that isn't going to matter, because really all you need to know is right there, the Mutant has less recoil than the Groza. So you will be able to spray the Mutant farther than the Groza, but at any rate, the Mutant is still not a long-range spray weapon. So I would have to say, for what these guns are designed for, which is medium to short-range fights, the Groza wins, hands down. It's that simple. So if you like this kind of data and you want to see more of it, I'm going to actually do every single gun in New State coming up next. I'm first going to do the 7.62s and then move on from there. But again, guys, if you like it, subscribe so you don't miss the next ones. And thanks for watching.